Is Geoff Keighley corrupt? So the whole Highguard situation is something which I haven't really spoke on too much because, to be honest, it just feels like one big punching down opportunity, and I don't think games failing should be celebrated unless there's some kind of nefarious reason that led to the failure. So a little brief history on Highguard, I won't take up too much time here. It was revealed at the Game Awards by Geoff Keighley right at the end, and he boasted about it being a game he was genuinely excited for after playing it. And one thing he really tried to drill home in his announcement of this game was that it was made by a team of 61 people, and it was a self-funded independent studio.
Comes from 61 members of the team that built Apex Legends, a new independent studio. The power of independent self-published studios to push this medium forward.
He said this a few times, which was something which at the time, of course, no one read into too much, but as you're going to see today, that has quite a lot of significance. Now, to no one's surprise, Highguard did not launch too great. In fact, it wasn't long before layoffs hit the studio, and as of just yesterday, the website for the game is basically down. And at this point, all things are pointing to this game quite literally dying and having the plug pulled on what's left of it. So again, I started off by talking about how I don't think it's productive to celebrate the death of games unless there's a nefarious reason that led to their death. And this is extremely interesting. This is where the story gets much deeper, because a report just came out that says Tencent, the Chinese publishing firm, was the undisclosed lead financial backer of Wildlight Entertainment, the developers behind Highguard. Now, this is extremely interesting for a few reasons. Number one, because this is a game that was advertised by Geoff Keighley as being self-funded and independently published, but it would seem that that's not entirely true. Like, maybe technically true, but everybody knows now with this report that that's just not the case. And to no one's surprise, yes, Highguard had microtransactions, something you would expect from a game pushed by Tencent, right? So what this really looks like here is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It is Tencent wearing the skin of what they're pushing as seemingly an independent indie studio, trying to get their successor to Apex Legends and whatever else Geoff Keighley mentioned off the ground and into superstardom. An attempt at launching a global superstar in the gaming space that could make a lot of money. And that alone is insane. But somehow this story gets crazier, and this is where a lot of people are now looking at Geoff Keighley with a raised eyebrow. So supposedly, the Game Awards has never had an advertisement slot right at the end of the show in the final spot that Geoff Keighley has done for free. And it was reported many times that Highguard's advertisement and placement at the end of the Game Awards was done for free. Geoff Keighley genuinely just happened to see this game and like it so much that he put it at the end of the Game Awards, and he made that very clear. And in case it wasn't already abundantly obvious to anybody watching so far, the Highguard Tencent funding was done in secrecy. So the report coming out is a pretty big story because no one knew that this was happening. So you might ask yourself, why was this being kept a secret? And why was Geoff Keighley so keen to promote it? Well, if you take a look at who's on the advisory board for the Game Awards, it's not only the CEO of Ubisoft, which not a big deal, but also the SVP at Tencent, Stephen Ma. So now a lot of people are asking questions, right? Like, Geoff Keighley hijacked the end of the show to promote a game which, let's face it, by no means is it groundbreaking. By no means is it something that you would see and say, I'm going to throw $120 at that. But Geoff Keighley was so keen to promote this game for free, as it's been reported. And this game is secretly backed by Tencent, the same publishing firm who has one of their SVPs on the advisory board for the Game Awards. Now, I've seen people saying that you can't just jump to conclusions here, and this does not in any way prove that Geoff Keighley was paid and did not disclose it, but one thing is important to note. For somebody who claims to love gaming so much, Geoff Keighley has shown before that he genuinely does not care in a lot of cases. Notably, in a year where layoffs were at their all-time highest in gaming, Geoff Keighley did not dedicate a section of the Game Awards to talk about it. In fact, the show just kind of went on as normal, and it was up to the people who got nominated or won awards to go up on stage and talk about it. He didn't take that moment to use that platform to raise awareness for the devs that had been laid off, and he certainly doesn't shy away on Twitter from reporting on the advancements in AI within gaming. And look, to Geoff's credit, he has the right to do all of the above. But it just is something to take into account when talking about the innocence of somebody who a lot of people are now wondering if he was paid off to talk about this game and did not disclose it. Now, would that have softened the blow? Probably not, but it is just really interesting to see something so shady that was paraded around as an innocent love passion project from a team of innocent indie devs that were solo funding and publishing their own game, which just does not look like that's the case at all. What this actually looks like is Tencent wearing the skin of a game to try and push it into AAA stardom, and it just has not worked, and now the plug is being pulled on the studio, and the people that were involved are now being left without jobs. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is this something that has anything to do with Geoff Keighley, or is it more falling on the shoulders of Tencent, or is it none of the above and it's just a really unfortunate situation?